Men of Reddit, what were the consequences of sticking your dick in crazy? When we broke up, she got into my apartment and poured a gigantic bottle of mustard in the back of my new flat screen. That was a $200 plasma screen TV you just killed. Good luck paying me back on your $0 a year plus benefits salary, babe. She broke up with me, then stalked me, and sent me suicide threats for a year afterwards. We had a fight. We were then having make-up sex. She was giving me a blowjob and stopped, turned her head to the left and bit my inner thigh. 38 years later, and I still have the scar. I was absolutely terrified. I was about to read that she bit your dick. I mean, this is still insane and bad, but I'm just thanking the Lord it wasn't your dick. You really care about his dick, huh? Yes. I do too. So do I. As do I. And my ex. Met a crazy one a couple of years ago. Started having sex, and she got clingy very quick. Talked about moving in and marriage the first week or so. When I told her I wanted to keep it casual, she flipped, calling and texting non-stop, stopping by my house 3 to 4 times a day to check in and see what is going on. When I realized that she couldn't handle this type of relationship, I cut things off, stopped answering my front door and phone. She was relentless. Even brought the police to my house for a wellness check. Anyway, she seemingly got the point and I didn't hear from her for a while, until my mom called. She had driven to their house to try and get them to convince me that we should be together. During this discussion, she shared all of the intimate details of our relationship with them. My parents live 2,300 miles away from me. You read that correctly. She drove across America to drop in on my folks. They were not amused. I forgot to add, we are in our 40s. I was like, young love. Then I read we are in our 40s and goddamn dude, your pipe game must be strong, son. She drove across the country to harass your parents. I'm sure it's not funny, and I hope you're doing well now, but Jesus. Your pipe game must be strong, son. She drove across the country to harass your parents. r/rare compliments. She slept with someone at her work Christmas party, then came back and tried to tell me she was 5 weeks pregnant with my baby. She proceeded to get wine drunk when I told her that I'd support her decision, but I sure wish it wasn't going to propose or get back together if it was mine. She got an abortion but refused to. Find this link in the video description. Know when or where it was. I'm 100% sure wasn't pregnant with my child, given the fact that I couldn't perform for a couple weeks due to a giant gash in my leg. I couldn't perform for a couple weeks due to a giant gash in my leg. By any chance, were you bitten during a blowjob? META. Context. After I broke up with her, she called my family members one by one to falsely claim I have raped her. She continued to harass my family by having her friends call and send messages to my sister claiming she is in hospital having committed suicide. This all happened in the days my friends saw her going out with other men. Imagine calling someone to tell them you committed suicide. Calls friend. Hello, I have died. Didn't technically stick my dick in crazy, we just fooled around a few times but no sex. Then one night we had a party at my place, she jumped into my bed and I wasn't having it. I told her I didn't wanna hook up. So she did the rational thing and latched onto my face like a pit bull, leaving a nice bloody and bruised bite mark on my face. She sounds stable. More like she belongs in one. I dated a girl who used to always bang gangster dudes tell me to hit her in an argument. Me, a softie wuss, obviously wouldn't do it. She'd tell me to man up and end the fucking argument already and take control of your woman. I never took the bait, and in the 10 years since her I can't say any other woman has made fun of me for not hitting her. This one's a little sad to read, but I'm so happy that people like you exist. Opus, I think you're a good person for not losing your cool. Hope you're doing well. She said masturbation was cheating and I disagreed. After some verbal fighting, she took her pet mouse I got her and fed it to her dog. Mortified, I took my stuff and never looked back. Short, yet powerful. I give this a 4/5. I had a car breakdown on me and couldn't pick up my kids. So, her being home all day, I asked her if she was able to pick them up as a favor. I told her it wasn't a problem if she couldn't, but I just really could use the help. She picks them up, no problems. Anyway, I get home and she is napping. My kids are watching TV. but one of them is under 2, so maybe shouldn't be unsupervised. I don't think much of it, because she is younger and maybe didn't think before napping, and it's only been an hour or so. I go to fix a drink, after cooking up some dinner for everyone. A half-liter of rum is empty from the cupboard. In the 2 hours I had left her alone to run errands, she had drank that much, and still gone to pick up my kids, before passing out in the room. I moved her out that same weekend. She drunk drove your kids? Sadly that's pretty common. My mother drove me drunk most of my childhood. But it was my dad instead. Wild times speeding down gravel canal banks at 55 miles per hour. Will we live? Will we die? Who knows? My ex-best friend was such a fucking nag, and not picker about everything. Her boyfriends wouldn't last more than a couple months with her. By seeing how she was with them, you just feel sorry for the guy. She would try to keep them around by claiming she was pregnant when she actually wasn't. One time she actually did get pregnant in an attempt to land the guy, but it didn't turn out as she wanted it because he told her that he will be there for the kid, but he wasn't going to be in a relationship with her. So she got an abortion and claimed she miscarried. Then she met a guy. They dated for 6 months, her longest relationship ever. She was 27 by the way, and she got pregnant. He wanted to do the right thing, so he married her. I went over to their house for dinner once while she was pregnant, and I just couldn't see how he was able to put up with her. She was nitpicking everything he did right in front of me while he was making dinner, and by that I mean she was literally standing behind him while he was cooking and saying things like, "You're adding that to the potatoes? That looks disgusting," and so on. I literally felt sorry for the guy. Well, about 2 months after she had the baby, he filed for divorce and got sole custody of the baby because she was fucking crazy and a hoarder. Good for him. Good for the baby too. Was stabbed in the back for cheating on her in a dream. Literally stabbed with a fucking fork. The tines were completely buried in my back. I had to have my neighbor pull the fork out so I could get to the hospital. 4 stitches later I got home. She was still asleep in my bed. Literally stabbed with a fucking fork. 4 stitches later. Checks out. If she ever called him sweetie pie, it would have been more appropriate to use a 3-tin dessert fork instead. You mean a freak? I know somebody who had their pubes burned in their sleep. Blowtorch. Sorry about your pubes. Sad razor noises. Now trapped in a relationship with someone I work with. If we break up, she'd do something wild enough to get me or us both fired. Secretly seeking a better job elsewhere or transfer. I've learned my lesson. That one is known as, don't dip your pen in the company ink. Never fuck the same cost center. My buddy got a paternity test request in the mail. Found out he was the father of a 4-year-old girl from some rando chick. The baby mama is terrible. She's taken him to court many times to up child support, and his daughter has turned out completely bonkers. He has little contact with his child, but still pays $1,300 a month in child support plus medical, insurance, etc. The mom has lost all control over the daughter, and she just alerted my buddy that she's started calling the cops on the daughter because she's violent. Now the child is moving 10 hours away to live with her grandmother several states away. Found the winner of the thread. I was in a band, and I had dated this girl less than a month. It was her birthday, but I had a show that night. I also was pushing a 102-degree fever. She came to the show, and I had done what I thought was above and beyond for this girl who I still barely knew. I bought flowers, a small cake. We had a passing happy birthday to her. She then proceeded to get exceedingly drunk and spent the evening talking shit about me to my own friends. Not even 10 feet from me, as if I couldn't hear her. At the end of the show I told her I was too sick to go out afterwards for her birthday, but I would take her out over the weekend. She exploded into a tirade of screaming and crying. I just walked away to my car and drove home. She texted me later that night to say she didn't feel like I was invested in this relationship, and if that was the case we should just break up. I wholeheartedly agreed, wished her well, and blocked her crazy ass on every platform imaginable. And that's how I broke up with a girl. On her birthday, by text message. Intensifies. It's my birthday, and you're telling me I'm not the one for you? I'm not effable? Technically the girl was kind of crazy, but her friend made the situation worse. There was this one girl Sarah, who worked herself into a friend group I was in. She never really liked me, but she couldn't really say anything, because I had been friends with the people in this group for a long time. She was just always kind of shitty towards me. A few years after I knew her, one of her friends started hang out with us, named Joy. Cute girl. We kind of hit it off, and flirted for a couple of weeks. One weekend I went to hang out with Joy, who was staying with her friend Sarah. Joy was crashing in Sarah's finished basement on a couch. We proceed to all go out to some bars, and get pretty drunk as DB young 20-year-olds tend to do. Eventually we all went back to Sarah's house for the night. Joy and I went to her room, and started making out pretty heavy. We were both drunk and kind of just passed out. Nothing more than missing really happened. Fast forward an hour or so after we crashed. We are both sleeping on the couch at opposite ends. Kinda of leaving on separate arms. The couch is right in front of a coffee table. Joy starts stirring, and half wakes me up. She proceeds to stand up, pull her pants down, lean over the coffee table, and starts pissing right there. Like WTF. I was half asleep and drunk, but I don't know what to do. This is a fucking awkward situation. So I just pretend to be asleep. She must have been more wasted than I knew, because after releasing herself on the carpet, she wandered upstairs to Sarah's room. I kind of crept upstairs a few minutes later, and Sarah is consoling Joy. I figure she's upset she did such a weird thing in front of me and was embarrassed. So I went back downstairs, and slept on recliner away from the couch. I fall back asleep and wake early the next day, and I GTFO before anyone is awake. Weird experience, but I live on with my life. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'm hanging out with the aforementioned friend group, like two of my guy friends. Just hanging out. They come to tell me that Sarah has been saying I raped Joy in her basement. She literally went around to a group of people and told them I raped her friend. Now, I hadn't really passed on the whole pissing in the basement story, simply because I didn't want to embarrass this girl in front of my friends. The worst part is Sarah convinced Joy that I had indeed raped her. Apparently Joy blacked out and had no recollection of much other than coming crying to her friend sans pants. I explained what really went down to my friends, but I felt really weird around some of them for the longest time. I'd like to think she was just mistaken and had good intentions, but I think she found an opportunity to make me look bad and ran with it. Fuck Sarah. That's her real name. She's a fucking crazy bitch. Fuck Sarah. Don't fuck Sarah, otherwise she will say it's rape. After reading many of these, mine doesn't seem so severe. Dated this girl I met at uni for about a year or so. Things seemed to be going great. A little too great. Went to meet her family at their home, and was told point blank that her mother advocated for her dating as many men at once as she could. Also, her mom also told her that if she wanted to lose weight, to try speed. It was really awkward. Fast forward to the coming months and she's telling me this story about a guy at work cornering her in the elevator and forcing himself on her to make out with her. Yet she didn't go to the police or authorities. Seemed even more odd. She didn't even want me to go to them. Then her roommate started telling me she was cheating on me. I was in too deep at that point to believe it. But the icing on the cake was when my own brother came to me and sat me down to tell me that she had approached him while she was visiting and I was at work. In that moment it all clicked. So I went to confront her. She went into total meltdown mode on me, trying to make me feel guilty about everything, like it was my fault or something, that she wanted all the dick she could get. So after we break up she keeps messaging me telling me that we need to talk, that she was suicidal, and it was all my fault. Telling me she was in the hospital. She was straight up nuts. That's not even including the time she told me she was pregnant all day on April 1st. I ran the whole gamut of emotions that day. The stages of grief are real, let me tell you. Even a year later she still messaged me telling me how I ruined her life. How she had to go through counseling and treatment and how she had lost a ton of weight because of it. Well, I'm glad she took her mom's advice. Now she's single and on speed. Good riddance to that bag of crazy. Glad I didn't catch and baby with her or worse. Sounds like she regrets losing the relationship they pretended to have with you. I'm sure she missed the stability of a steady relationship. She just wanted it with a few extra sides of D. I'm not about all that. All the money I should have saved while working without having bills to pay is gone. All the time I could have spent having fun and enjoying my younger years was spent doing what she wanted to do. What made her happy? Then, 3 years after we started, she told me flat out, "Hey, we are moving to Houston. I don't want to move to Houston. Then find somewhere else to sleep tonight, you piece of shit." And the next morning, all my stuff was in the backyard. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem, she's your problem now. The best orgasms followed by the worst life. Post-nut nightmare, /r/band names. It's like that part in Antichrist, where she hits the guy in the nuts with a log, and then jerks him till he shoots blood, but mentally. Oh, cool. I'll file one this under movies I never want to fucking see, ever. When I was in college, a girl wanted a little vengeance on her ex-boyfriend and set a couch outside of his apartment on fire. The apartment building caught fire, and killed 4 people. My god. A terrible marriage, a long divorce, a couple mental breakdowns, some time inpatient, and losing half my money. I hope you're doing better now. I'm not doing worse and that's okay. To this day I can't be sure she won't complain for rape after seducing me. She's just so crazy you can never know. I still save our WhatsApp conversations to back me up in court for when the day comes. Hope it doesn't come to that, but smart move. Standard. Short, but to the point. Short, true, and definitive. Got a vasectomy years before we even met. She never asked me about anything. Every conversation was about her. Haven't taken it out yet. So you are wearing her as a cocksock. Amazing sex followed by the systemic destruction of my social life. Attempts to turn my friends against me. They were initially successful, but then they overplayed their hand and friends/coworkers realized what was up, and a deliberate attempt to damage my career. Halfway through she informed me that she wasn't on the pill, after swearing for days she was, and that it would work out fine, then proceeded to wrap her legs around my body. I've never wanted to hit a woman so hard in my life. Thank God I was stronger, and pried her off my ass, and kids. That's how I met your mother. JK, the information killed my desire to continue faster than walking in on your grandparents. Normally when crazy gets baby fever they'll tell you they are on the pill, when they aren't or something else, like they had their ovaries removed. You dealt with rookie crazy making rookie mistakes. She was a life sniper with no scope. When I tried to break it off, she threatened to call the police and tell them that I raped her. Best thing to do would be to wait a day or two and do it again while recording it. I don't think raping her and recording her would be the best move there. Children and now sacrificing everything I have so that her life and my kids' lives have the least upheaval while I go through hell alone.